Starting out with a few thoughts, I'll through this writing have something to work on at the health clinic. This will give my mind grounding and centeredness, and thereby help me be more calm. I was glad this morning to look at the latest chapter, and realize that such is complete enough to go on to the next chapter. This is a pleasant surprise, and I am getting right into this work for a new day. Today is Tuesday, the third one in December this year. Monday was a challenging day to get through, as we seemed to have to allocate so much of our free time to the bad news of the day. Today has started out easier, and I'm glad to get to this work, and feel like such is in the realm of the possible. I've changed my accompaniment music which will go with this writing, so this will now be the Hello Sessions, and so far, the December Dream Part 2. At any rate, today is starting with cold temperatures, in the 20s, and sunshine. Clouds are expected for tomorrow, so I would imagine colder, and some rain is expected for Thursday. That will probably be dreary. When this clinic appointment is behind me, I'll be freed up for the rest of the week. The migraine which I'm dealing with now is on the right side of my face. By seeing through the matted tangle of hair shafts behind my face surfaces, the associated follicles, their tenderness and pain, are allowed to rest more easily. Anyways, we'll be through with this shortly, and then we'll be back home. It sure was good to spot the fix for that migraine. The good Lord gave me the mind that can solve puzzles just like that. In a perfect world, we'd never have pain, but this is far from a perfect world. I'll have to be contented with perfecting this writing. This is something small, that I can actually do well. When I first started writing, using a word processor, in middle 1996, I was working on some pieces that had come through automatic writing, written out longhand, and edited, and filed, with my computer. My dad had gotten me the computer. I didn't know how to use it, until I made the mental connection, that it could be a filing cabinet, for my written pieces. That was one of the light bulbs that had to come on in my life, to make use of the technology. There were many others, including the highlight copy-paste function. You'd be amazed to learn how long it took for me to find this. 3 years online, before I learned how to build website pages effectively. Anyways, dumb, blind mistakes were every day, back then for me. It was better I learned slowly. Well, that's the short version, anyways. Our time is nearly around 11:30, and we'll be getting home, and lunch. This writing is coming along, such will be the first article in the second part of this audiobook. I'm going to try and use the latest music, to keep it interesting. This will make me be more interested in the work that I get. You see, at any rate we're almost done with this. If the waves will abide, that is, coming up the sides of our boat. Our skies are blue. No clouds. Back home, I allowed myself a nag, seeing how this would clear my mind. Consciousness of potentialities, in some, causes a case of corruption so bad. It just sometimes is the writer's worst nightmare. We hope that it's out of our system, by now. When the churning waves get so bad, I think that the sun salute is the best visualization exercise. I'm very blessed to have a strong homemade portfolio, but yesterday's news hurt me, too. We have immortal spirits, who we walk with, and always have to keep. But you see, my little brat self doesn't always grasp the seriousness of what we sought, so that little Dennis Menace guy gets criticism from on high, for his laughter and jest. It's just not ever going to be easy to make lighter things like such are only material for a comedy routine. I agree, though, that laughing is the best medicine, but I don't want to worsen my already poor reputation. Someone is always watching and judging. At any rate, it's our spiritual sides that need comfort. Dennis the Menace just doesn't know much about what is the lowdown. He may never know. Some people, everything they touch gets choked out with briars and thorns. Others, everything turns to gold, which can be its own kind of punishment. Digital media work is not easy to do. It's hard on the head, and gets hard on the heart. But, if we see the glass as half full, and look on the bright side, we might be somewhat leanly surprised. But far better to toil in obscurity, than its opposite. Enough said. My yoga stretch visualization can restore feeling to the side of my face, when such gets numb and throbbing. Well, these have been some thoughts. I'll put it away for a while, and rest. Returning to this software, now, I try and see past, or through the matted tangle of hair shafts behind my nose. This is the only way I know to really get past this type of pain. I myself know, beyond any doubt, that my style of progressive rock piano isn't the only agitating, or sinful game going in the world today. The style of music which I was given back in 1999 is today something like banditry. Something like a product which would otherwise be taxed stringently. Only, music isn't taxed today any more than Coca-Cola, or instant coffee. These things, and many others, are luxury products which do what they do, and may be addictive, but they aren't treated stringently by the IRS. So, this is the way many kinds of progressive metal, or rock music is, as well. Ever since Gutenberg invented the printing press, which allowed for duplication of books, people have enjoyed the benefits of widely available literature, such as the King James Bible, but some literature is a bit of a guilty pleasure, and may have esoteric properties. I'll give you an example. The theosophical text is one thing, and proposes to illumine the occult areas of the modern mind, but what if that text was, for instance, written by a character with a shady background? Well, the meanings and actions of possessing or reading the book somewhat get murkier. Audio and video products of many kinds are always acting upon the minds of man in many various ways. I think my reader should just be familiar with this as one of the facts of life, and remember that I'm not the only tool in the shed, much less the sharpest, nor most bizarre, or heaviest, nor effective tool in the shed. There's a whole world of products of every kind of not just esoteric literature, but every kind of literature. I'm not the only one who's ever felt the stings of a young reader having gone bad. Of course, I sure hope that such as that didn't happen at all. But if it did happen, then join the crowd. You can make it through the rain, as the song says, and find yourself respected by the others who got rained onto and made it through. So, in case you thought or made the assumption that the scales of justice were tilted or slanted toward you, remember that that's just not true. Open your mind and eyes to the vast universe of literature which tries to be a positive influence in the lives of young people today. Which doesn't just take your money and run, but which tries to impress with positive values. There's a world of such literature, and that's not the end of the story, but just the beginning. It sometimes gets difficult being an advocate. This is so true. At any rate, these words are spooling from out of my mind into this word processor now, so I'll think about bringing him to a conclusion now. Have a good Wednesday tomorrow, and on into a festive pre-holiday weekend. All for now, Greg. Tilda, sitting down to see what might be just beneath the surfaces of my mind. I'm particularly impressed with how I sometimes make mistakes with people. Oh, well, I've made this mistake before, and I'll probably make it again. At any rate, today is the third Friday in December this year, and I'm resting in the familiar rhythms of my journaling. This is a lot better than many people have or can do. So, I'm blessed, and this work, this path, is something to be grateful for. We've got beautiful, brisk, sunny December weather, and I feel fine this morning. No pain. My artistic side really came through for me this year, and made me proud, as well. So, people are proud for what little they have. I've got a concerted path of my own, and I want to remember that. One for just me. The only thing that helps these migraines is mentally putting my hands and arms up past the sides of my head and face, as in the sun salute. People think that you think that you're special, and that you think that you have something they need. So, this only makes them reject you more, and treat you wrongly. Walking in consciousness and awareness of higher ascended beings results in the person getting their nose rubbed in it. Anyways, maybe you can dodge this outcome by being faithful in service, if you know how to give in the right way. If you don't, then maybe it will be the thought that counts. If our lives are based in positive intentionality, to do good, then won't this be what is seen? I sit here, this afternoon, and scan my priorities and particularities, to see if any coherent thought arises. My mind seems quite empty, and so I try to rely on my rephrasing, and by rephrasing my purpose. My life is happier today than it's ever been. But this is a life free from most responsibilities, and allowed to just be as the lazy breezes. If I tried to keep up with the modern independent pressures in this world, I'm quite sure that I'd lose my wits. The aliens, ancestors, and nature spirits which inform my consciousness make my mind as dreamy and spacey as an easily distracted child. But the pressures that I am under, pressures of managing my world music publishing, and written and spoken word publishing, are enough to make me easily upset. The smartest ways here are to keep to myself, and never ever open myself up to any real rejection ever happening. It's true that some seasons center around gift giving, and while it won't hurt you to participate, you can't attach yourself to any particular outcome. If your common sense tells you that something is a lost cause, then it's much better to leave it completely alone than to try and influence someone's life. This is a good rule to live by. Your own work advances and prospers of its own accord. Such isn't reliant on the approval of others. Your mastery is in all you do. Such doesn't depend on outward praise or adulation. Well, our time is after 3 p.m., and I'm going to put this writing away and get my shower. Now? Well, today is the next day, at 6:45 a.m., and this writing makes better sense than I thought it would. You see, I subtractively shortened the opening few lines and removed some distractions. This, I think, is the best thing to do sometimes, and such produces a much more worry-free reading experience. Now, I might can get some writing done if I'll focus my intellect onto the blank page. But I think that I tend to think a little faster than most people are ready to deal with. So, this is why I keep my faculties involved, engaged in some kind of production. This helps keep me from making idle mistakes, such as getting worried or worked up over the crazy things people say. This would not be acceptable. February's a drizzly, cold hell. But the pretty December day like today is resplendent in the glories of the late year's festive grandeur. I'm telling myself that when I need something to do, I can't put digital descriptions on some family pictures to pass the time. But for now, it's this writer's voice which I like. I've been my own best friend and confidant. Writing is one's own best nurturance. At any rate, I take comfort there, as I'm doing right now, especially when my usual answers run dry. Or, for instance, if there's an instinctual drive, which I'm somewhat trying to get around, or out of altogether. Why, did you know that when the person is in their late 50s and into 60s, there might yet be strong, profound leanings toward marriage and children, precisely because this age is young, compared to those who are in their 80s and 90s. So, if you see a scowl on an older guy's face, it's probably not because of anything you have said or done. There are forces which shear and tear at old men and women, which try, like a last-ditch campaign, to make matches. The best one can do, ultimately, is to try and smile and make the best of it. At any rate, on a morning like this one, I myself might find one of the definitive video about the sure gradual rise and many various falls of Western civilization. For instance, what we are seeing right now, I think, is a shift in the easy availability of microchips and rare earth elements. Additionally, the near-Earth orbital environment is beginning to grow too crowded by small satellites and pieces of matter whizzing around at 10,000 miles per hour. People used to have days to make orbital and trajectory changes before collisions. Now, there are mere hours, even minutes. Anytime you send manned craft into orbit, or try to get around in near-Earth orbit, the risks are going to be involved. The risks of overcrowded space. I've been impressed with this before, and I've been impressed again. The popularity contest, in my part of the world, apparently comes in increments. There may be a type of expanding and contracting to which we owe a lot. They say our universe, in other words our worlds, starts with a big bang and expands outwardly, and contracts again into another bang. Well, I work almost all of the time. I rest for 3 days, maybe, and then I'll get back to work. Or maybe it's just a rumination about the hypothetical thoughts of the Laplandic caribou. Oh, and I can't tell that I'm currently at the outward limits of my own most recent expansion phase. Part of me starts reflecting on a recent philosophical digression, in which we look and see what types of behaviors and products exacerbate and consolidate the actions of aging and gravity. In remembering this meditation, I can pretty conclusively say that some behaviors, such as that, are the very essence of mental illness. Psychosis, schizophrenia, depression, suicide. These illnesses affect individuals without asking permission first. For instance, in 1999, I let myself get into thinking that I could do that type of music, and try and drink alcohol, and smoke, and take pills, while I'm supposed to be on my psychiatric medicines. I got duped. For that matter, aren't drinking alcohol and smoking tobacco very closely related to mental illness themselves? Who in their right mind would do those things? It would have to be someone who was seriously interested in cutting to the chase, because those behaviors might qualify as self-destructive behaviors. To a doctor or analyst, the native peoples of the Americas used tobacco, of course, but it was the Europeans who introduced them to the alcoholic beverages. The alcohol later became one of the biggest weaknesses of poor Native Americans on reservations. But we all have our own little shall-nots. Even the good pastor of the church has to stay away from the sensualities of the eyes. For instance, there are a proliferation of groupies in the social media. Like I was mentioning before, someone at their age of late 50s is still a spring chicken compared to the really old folks. There's a search of the instinctual urges for someone at my age, that's for sure. Many young ladies would like an older man, but my fixed income wouldn't go very far at all, split 3 ways, with a child or a teenager. So, these are just some of the things that are on my mind this morning. These thoughts herein are somewhat beginning to come to their logical conclusions now, so I'll wrap them up and add in with the others. All for now, Greg. I approach the empty page this morning with the hopes that I can learn of the hidden aspects of my own mind in this world, and the chances of any higher understanding are enough to keep me interested in this self-work program indefinitely. I think that the real thing that I'm dancing around this morning is the great worry of telepathic love. As such can't even operate his own life, so don't try and run mine, or some such polarization. Or maybe what I'm shown is what is seen as an opportunity to be divisive, or conversely, an opportunity to come together in unison. So which will you choose? A difference, or a disagreement, or in concert of harmonious agreement? Or maybe this thought is operant: how there will always be a tacit disagreement between the sexes, and that is really all that separates us. If it wasn't for our tacit disagreement around human sexuality, then we would have nothing at all. There isn't any good guy or bad guy, we just disagree. Here is the truth: if I've formed some kind of negative self-opinion within myself, then automatically, that's what others always tend to go by and see in myself. Any depth of feeling or character within myself should be directed towards being strong despite the tears, which is good advice. So you should be able to see my perspective through that. I'm really just glad to know enough to make lemonade from out of the lemons, no matter what. No one's struggling with anything, except for an apparent feminine contrarian. The time must be unsettled. This morning, I conclude to myself, and I think that such appears to come down to the differences between you and me. Why don't you just think about something different? That's really the winning question, if you ask me. At the soul of myself is a full-fledged willingness to take difference and separation, and turn such into beautiful, blissful music. This will always be the recourse for any life that tries to be who and what he or she is, not who or what people's expectations appear to dictate of himself. Any currents of division will always get transmuted into episodes of pure music. Music shared in the common culture of agreement and harmony is a good act of defiance against dinner disagreeing with me. Interspecies differences are to me always at the root of mankind's problems. Why else is there such a strong vegan culture in our world today? And can you take the vegetarian challenge yourself? When there are such delicious roasted meats to eat. I think that the challenge mankind has faced is in somehow learning the way to grow in a laboratory the savory aromas and flavors of cooked meat, and to give unto this product a convincing texture and taste, to emulate the cooked meat of animals. If mankind could accomplish this one thing, then I believe that our collective troubles and grievances would be no more. Technically, you've seen the truth. Now, Will you live by its principles? When we have not only a wide range of fruits and vegetables, as well as nuts and berries, and grains, including jellies and jams, and candies, like chocolate, but dairy products, such as eggs, cheese, and cream, and milk. Don't you see what I'm getting at? But you crave the aroma, and taste, and texture, and filling qualities of real meat. After all, you're a carnivore. These don't appear to be hollow, empty words, do they? They're full of meaning and significance. Yet our diets tell us that we've got to learn to smile and enjoy the good meat. I tell myself I'm shy of most everything that makes a loud noise or moves fast. What this might mean for me is that we need sane and humane ways of euthanizing and slaughtering animals without causing them to panic or to be afraid. To animals, the savory aroma of meat cooking, I would imagine, smells like death. Maybe we could take the fentanyl off the streets and instead administer it to ranch animals to ease their distress around slaughter. So, won't you come along to the vegetarian world, or will you continue as a carnivore? Since we're carnivores, animals aren't seen as our brothers and sisters. Maybe more like distant relations of indefinite nature. So, you've seen and understood now. Maybe this will be enough to keep your heart and soul safe and sound. Nature is probably against the mass slaughter of animals, due to the weight of our wasteful food industry. Well, I put some thought into this topic now, so I'll put this away for a while, until I can arrive upon new understanding. Well, our lunch was good and filling, and yes, we had some meat, chicken, but the pasta salad was really better. Our time is 20 minutes before 1 on this mild but damp winter solstice, the day at which point our Earth's days gradually begin to grow longer and nights shorter. I appear to have received a stern lecture about vegetarian beliefs. So what does that tell me? My mom died a month ago, and she telepathically saying how she would still be alive if we had been more vegan. But we weren't. Well, at any rate, our sky has high hazy white cloud cover this afternoon. I'm telling myself also that I would do just as good to get a nap this afternoon. Maybe I should resign myself to sleeping more. Maybe I'd do less damage that way. Anyways, I can't get these words coming to their gradual conclusion in through here. I'll send this writing along your way. Now, all for now, Greg. Tilda sitting down inside on this sunny and brisk, breezy late December morning. I'm going to try and see what's on my mind today, if anything. These words are good reassurance that my spirit is willing, and this morning, this puts me somewhat ahead of the game already. I desired but to put this higher successional principle into practice this morning, so I'm very blessed and glad to be saying this. Today is the 5th Monday in December, and I'm going to get along into this article while I'm getting over to our office for my monthly medicine. Already, I'm highly blessed to see these words coming together so well. My devices and software definitely appears to be functioning well, and this lets me be my best, without having to worry myself over the technical hurdles involved in writing my thoughts out. If you think about it, this is 9/10 of the journey already. My family has been behind me this whole way. Anyway, through this working with my own best natures, these family factors have really come through for me. Anyways, yesterday my good wits were really there, and came through, as well. Without the inner aptitude and motivation to improve my own lot, having the other good wouldn't help much. What is really good is to know, beyond doubt, that the best I can do, mentally, is to see my inner self right. In other words, allowing my face and sinus awareness to get beneath the matted tangle of hair shaft follicle roots that are so sore and tender might be the only visualization that I really need right now. There are many memories in my past of my 20 to 25 years old self, struggling and vainly striving to solve my consciousness puzzles. Mainly that of why I felt so bad and didn't have peace in those years. But this happened only when the curve was reversed, and such might be for you as well. You might blunder into your answer. You never really know. The main thing to remember is that peace has come to you. Everything and everyone resets at the end of the term, regardless, so you should be aware. At any rate, I'm sitting here feeling grateful at how my right answer has always shown me the way eventually in my mediumistic journey. And it will for you, too. Well, it's good to be along on our way back to the home. Now, home again is nice. It's nice as well to have some concerted ideas together for inclusion into this audiobook chapter. I get situated for a few minutes in order to get them down. Then I'll have to run to get to our dining room for our medicines and a sandwich. After that, I can't rest. I was thinking lately about the many journeys of life and about the depth of time required for knowledge to form, and the way that worlds of life have of always spotting the answer eventually, and of turning the situation around when presented with the solution factors, and being shown this way. Perhaps you will have known of the fabric of interconnectivity where life somewhat comes together. Are you drawn towards life, or are you drawn away from life? Into shadows. Having one the strong guardian spirit looking after your best interests in the nether worlds might make all of the difference between an active, productive spiritual life and one which lies dormant for the entirety of your existence. You have to be able to look out for yourself and learn the right polarity, the right steps to take when faced with the void of nothingness. Learning the minimizing of the self, which is the key to mediumship, can be the key which turns the lock. But you have 2-3 half discernment to recognize those which only want to take advantage of your heightened receptivity and waste your time and ensnare you into conflict. There should be a good home group where your actual best interests are looked after. Having these 3 aspects of your spiritual relationship somewhat squared away makes a difference. Have you done this inner developing of your psychic faculties? Those who have will be the higher achievers. Only is this of any greater value to us than the others? You just might be geared more around your family life than any productive output. Did you ever think about that? Not all home systems are peaceful. A few will have problems in the neighborhood. If your life has a parasitic criminal attached to it, your life and times might get considerably darkened. When your home life is beset with those who seek to annoy and persecute and waste your time, that home group tends to get blamed for the actions of the parasitic others, who may also be attached. It's hard to find a place of good peace and quiet on the home front for those who develop content for a global audience. If you have done this, however, and this is a precious thing, you tend to be highly productive. And this, too, can be where a digital divide forms between the haves and the have-nots. But if you'll really look at it, the difference between the haves and have-nots is measured solely in happiness. Happiness is the ultimate prize, and such has unmistakable positive life blessings. At any rate, my life has shown this to be true. We've had some happy home times, to be sure. I can't really think of any adult group home where I've lived in the last 23 years where we weren't almost always happy. We've had some good times, in general, all within assigned homes, and families, and roommates. It makes you wonder if the mental health care system might not know more about how my life should be lived, how to do my things, better than I myself did. Just some thoughts on this brisk Monday late afternoon, just before I get over to our dining room for my evening meal. I've been so busy writing that I forgot to get my shower this afternoon. So I'll take care of that when I get back here, and can't then focus fully on this writing. When I really stop and think about it, having a publishing platform gives to me a voice in the world environment. Such is not a thing to take for granted. Instead, I want to be mindful and remember to use this power wisely. At any rate, I did have a few troubles in coming into such a voice as this, especially in my 20s decade, and into my 30s. This time was leading up to and around the millennial time period, and I had a lot of challenging artistic work trying to get out. I think that my Ocean Rose sketch, which I was given in 1988, was, and still is, the archetype that stands for that time, and an awakening to a poetic childhood, which was somewhat destined to have to learn some things the hard way. This being somewhat like what the boat symbolizes over the girl's head. The alcoholic ancestry had such complete sway over my life and time for the decade of my 20s. There was no way to get around it. It was a time of fading childhood. Perhaps alcoholism itself is a persistent pattern of childishness expressed into all adulthood. The down the road piece from August to 2024 is simple and symbolizes, to me, the fully grown self, which has only to lean on and rest in the foretaste of heaven, where we are all bound, some sooner, some later, and the inevitability of old age. Perhaps there's a third piece, the core piece from November to 2023, which symbolizes the inner persona, the little one in the middle, who actually feels the joys and pains of living firsthand. But Cora has a voice by which she directs herself in the world. She symbolizes the melding of imagination and reality, and conducts her life from an inwardly perspective. The self is poorly understood, but it is said that the pineal gland is the seat of the soul. But one's inner voice, if there could be said to be such a thing, I think, is centered at the vocal center, and the glottis, the tongue, and larynx. So, these three kinds of ways of seeing the self are what I'm given. 1. The childhood self, its fate and ways. 2. The inner persona, which gradually makes its way through innumerable life experiences, and actually experiences the pains and joys of life firsthand. And thirdly, the dweller on the threshold, which but awaits the return voyage, under the collective unconsciousness, and the great soul of mankind. Ocean Rose, the child, Cora, the first-hand experiencer, and the girl in Down the Road, somewhat the dweller on the threshold, awaiting life imperishable, and immortality, as we think of such. These are the three which I think symbolize the self, at its different stages. Through the etheric eyesight, this is what's seen. In other words, through such timeless world, a girlish entity, in a slipstream, the type of feminine energy, and aerodynamic flowing. At any rate, I've been working on this article since this morning, and have nearly brought it to its conclusion. The ideas are winding down to their finish, and I'll bring this writing to a close. Now, all for now, Greg. Till then, sitting, to write, and to think, this second day of January, this new year, I'm genuinely glad to have gotten out of my sleep this morning, on time. To have this word processor software on this smart device is a direct working connection with my higher power. I get right to work on composing a few paragraphs, and thereby having some work going. If I had forgotten what it's like to have all new thinking going onto a notebook page, then this is a good reminder. Such is something which has never been seen before, and is usually an all-new journey for the writer. A new beginning, with its new trappings and vestiges. That sounds pretty good, I think to myself. At any rate, our morning is cloudy, we're expecting rain tonight, and I'm inwardly hoping that I'll get to stay in the apartment. I've no needs beyond here, I tell myself. Of course, medicine and meals are a part of any time. I'm just glad to have a sense of purpose in this writing. Such is incomparable and irreplaceable. I think that it's really good to be past the seasonal and New Year's hurdles, and to see the new writing coming along like this. This puts me ahead, no doubt. I'll be glad to see what can be done with this morning. Whether I can finish the latest chapter, and in what way. I've gotten some piano playing and recording done this week. This comprises a new album I'm calling Silver World. This is, of course, my pride and joy, although such a diminutive and plain. Just a collection of solos, without any bright production values. Just a set of 10 solo jams, me playing my keyboard. But this is enough newness to animate my senses, and give a nice new beginning, along with the new year. Anyways, I get occasional glimpses of just how much I enjoy my beverages, such as my black tea brew. And this morning, I'm conscious of this pain, which is sometimes like a craving for that which I desire. I'm a recovered nicotine user. I gave up tobacco 11 years ago, then used minimal dosage vaping for 8 years, and managed to get out of the nicotine game entirely more than 2 years ago. You have to be able to stare down a craving. This is something like being happy enough with my artist's path, and being satisfied enough to have and appreciate having better things to think about. But I do still deal with occasional cravings. But tobacco would only be the death of me, for sure. I just have too muscle on past these cravings, and having a strong tea brew is a good substitute for the nicotine I sometimes miss. At any rate, on a morning like this one, I feel somewhat like I've got a fur-lined inner esophagus. and these fur follicles hurt, and feel currents of change much like a weather vane. I'm hurting this morning, but life goes on, so I'm thinking about a fine, precise, discrete T-square at the tip of my tongue, and imagining my pain dissolving. That's all that it takes to get me past the hurdle this morning. This is a type of breath work, as others have spoken of, a progressive, forward moving into wellness and better feelings. I do get pains and deep aches. Any changes come with good and bad, and sometimes such seems to look to myself like the kind of weathertron, a computational method of watching which way the wind is blowing, and asking myself, how best can I get in step with this change this morning? The pane is like a level meter, or indicator, which can show or illumine the approximate attitude of the particular chaos. This time of year will have a few chaotic emergencies. I tell myself that just because the new year is fairly pleasing to myself, doesn't mean that catastrophe doesn't happen somewhere. Many people will be traveling, getting from point A to point B. An accident does happen at some time or place, somewhere, and then we all know of it. Last New Year saw several bad calamities and accidents. I hurt just remembering the pains of that season. The new year doesn't necessarily mean that such is pleasing to everybody. You see, we're trying to think conceptually in a slightly different manner. 2026 is a somewhat new picture, if only in the ending 6. So the way we think of ourselves at this time is slightly different. I've often thought how we might see a slight echoance of the 1920s and 30s and 40s as we make our way along into this century. By 1950, I think that we thought that we were pretty sophisticated. The 50s were something of my parents' generations coming into their own, and perhaps our 30s and 40s will arise similarly by our 50s. What do you think? But we're not there yet. 26, for those born around the millennium, is a coming into adulthood. Especially I see maturity beginning around the 2030s for the millennium babies. Maybe I see this way because I myself had so many new christenings around the century turning period. New music albums and written projects that were part of, inseparable from, the time that was then. My thoughts around these projects are fully grown, I could say. So, my thoughts around my old age appear to be easier than they might would have seemed 20 years ago. The challenges of maturity seem much less today. We'll get through it. If anything, the science of medicine and nursing has grown more advanced and sophisticated, and I'm so much more confident in these institutions, and will be sure and rest in any care I may need. At any rate, you can see these are my thoughts this morning, partly because of the calendar. The new start is letting me see my all in a more circumspect way. So this is somewhat the hope of any new writing at a time like this. Because of the primacy of this writing, and this circumspect time, I think that my stomach is cramping just a little bit. In the group therapy class meeting in before lunch, we'll most likely get this cramping to move behind. Anyways, I'm glad to have gotten the issue solved, and can rest in what doesn't mystify me so much. Now, just a good group therapy. The chance to connect, and see how I myself am acting in respect to the others. That's part of working on this project, which is myself. At any rate, just some thoughts. I think that the lesson which I'm taking away from the session today is how, similar to what the pastor of the church might would say, we may not feel ourselves to be ready for a love this strong, such as a relationship with God island, or I may not feel worthy, or it's my low self-opinion, in some ways. But the pastor tells us, God sees past our sin and weakness. God sees us as worthy. Only are we able to believe in ourselves, to see ourselves as saved. We are saved by grace. None of us has earned our salvation. It's offered us by grace. And that's a strong idea. People have been receiving a better life from their higher power for centuries, for millennia, when they're accepting of themselves and willing to receive the blessings. That's partly why we have group therapy meetings, for it to allow a good higher power and collective will to speak through ourselves, to show us the way. At any rate, these are some of what I can't see from my vantage this morning. We are all seeking balance in our lives, and freedom from cravings and addictions is many of our primary concern. And that doesn't have to be a lonely path. We should remember that we'll make the right choice when we have to. Whoever we are, we'll do that, or else we wouldn't still be in this world. If I've struggled with depression, addictions, suicide, or schizophrenia, I'll be very familiar with these types of things, and I'll be trying to find a better way. Trying to live differently. Now, I'll be in the midst of making my recovery from these problems. So, such will be a recovery path that has seen only the ego, the little man's self, inside the heart, get disrupted. I've found such to be a problem, as others have. It's the keenness and quietudeness of the person, which is capable of administrating and changing gears between the lower ego self and the higher person's full competency. Getting into alignment with one's higher self usually involves being receptive and able to make note of the smallest of impulse. I've reinforced this idea through my years. Receptivity. But if I didn't have a typist's nature, I'd have to think faster, or use the dictaphone, and verbalize my thoughts into recordings. This is essentially what I do with my piano. I dial it down to make some recordings. As long as the recorder is running, then the recording way makes sense to me. With the modern attention-demanding jobs, and needs for good cashiers, and computer operators, anyone can get in a snare. It may be like only a matter of time before a person's inner or ego self gets conflicted and disrupted. Or there's a clash between the inner world and the outer. But the inner self, I think, can reflect many different backgrounds. But such an experience confirms in myself that such can work out, and how we need to always stay open to self-forgiveness. At any rate, these are just thoughts to illustrate the ways that the inner and the outer worlds don't always agree. Attention deficit disorders suggest that what is to be studied or attended to is problematic. But the effective administrator can go between the different worlds which we have to attend to. Any kind of discomfort can give you a migraine. I've had killer migraines which are sometimes so bad that I've had to give up the work position to someone else. It's easy to be comfortable on one's writing couch 30 minutes before your supper meal. What gets mind-numbingly and blindingly bad sometimes are when there is somewhere else the person wants to be. But if the yoga stretch visualization is one's optimum state of being, regardless, then this is what he or she is going to run under. I think that this is writing which I will want to read. So, in finishing this article, I'll try and think of a closing flourish with the fiber of my being. But if the writing itself is too much of a distraction to whatever it is I'm doing, then, well, that's my main spiritual practice. The getting into words of my thoughts. But the piano recording I can't do, and articulating of my thoughts are both options which are open to myself, at times withstanding. I would say that there are as many practices as there are grains of sand at the seashore. I just don't like when the ego self becomes disrupted. At any rate, these have been some thoughts. I'll see just how they shine in the halls of Shambhala when I've listened back to them as audio text. All for now, I'll send this writing along your way now. Greg, Tilda in getting part 2 of this reflection that sold audiobook further, or to its completion, I am given to reflect, indeed, on just what goes into making insightful, illuminating thinking, onto the page. On mornings such as this one, I'm remembering to be grateful, and to pay attention to the actual thought flow. I can easily see how the best defense is a good defense. So my personal critics, I'm imagining, are coming out kind of strongly against me. This morning, the debate around values is getting off to a robust start. I can't help. I could speculate that I've invented someone to challenge certain liberal positions within my own heart, as a way of illuminating the flaws in my own thinking. My own kind of critics class, to make me question some of my held beliefs. In a way, finding oneself being criticized by much stronger thinkers than myself is a blessing. Without the constructive criticism, I think that I'd really be lost, then. So, I think that we can see one's peaceable critics as blessings, and as ideas that honor the spirit of debate. I've always known how some of the local pastors and ministers are very strong in literary values, but I've not felt so personally criticized since my infant years in the decade of the 1990s. I guess that the point I'm making is that that we're blessed any time someone will shine a light into our darkened corner. We know how with our own way of resisting the hypothetical arguments against all ways of thinking and believing, we'll be able to generate some counterpoint discourse, if only to admit that I'm not worthy of such strong ideas as our good Lord brings to my consciousness this morning. I appreciate the potter's hand, as this somewhat elevates any lump of clay. No doubt about it, these are some of the strongest ideas I've been shown in more than a year. But, unlike my lifestyle in some of the previous decades, I'm these days in pretty good standing. I'm not popping pills to get high, or having any part of pornography. So I'm on the cart with the others, right? Sometimes real life shines through into my mind's shadows, and the discourse which arises then exceeds my standard fare literature content, and I feel really included in the conversation. Shown consideration. I think that the Spirit's ways sometimes consist in uplifting us, partly by holding us down, as in receiving a small, controlled dosage of a pathogen, so as to build in us the resistance to that substance. This is the transformative work of the Spirit, and when one is brought into this entrained, resistant community, then, to myself, the friendship and love only builds and grows. This shaping and molding of the clay, this kind of homeopathy and reverse psychology, basically, may not be standard doctrinal guidance, but it's supported by some science. It's true that getting vaccinated, for instance, involves administering a controlled dosage of the pathogen to build in the person a resistance. Is this not somewhat in line with Christian principles? Science and faith do meet in countless ways. I think any time that we see math or algebraic formulas as telling us of precisely how a uniform electromagnetic field behaves in a vacuum, for instance, this harmony between math and our explicate world has always fascinated me. Einstein's most famous equation, the energy of a thing is equal to its mass, times the speed of light squared, equation, somewhat epitomizes this clear light of truth, which can be discerned at the juncture of math and physics. The manifest world has understood algebraically. You can start at Newton's laws of motion, which explain how any object's motion relates to the forces acting of it. Inertia, for instance, is the first, and goes something like, an object tends to remain at rest, or in motion, in a vacuum, until acted upon by outside force. The first law of thermodynamics goes back to a man named Sadi Carnot, back in the middle 19th century, who found the properties and behavior of matter states, that extreme temperature, in our universe, going by mathematical principles, based in that physics, of hot and cold. At any rate, to tell me how matter behaves in strange wonderful ways as it becomes cool to near absolute zero. I think that this type of quantum computing, using qubits, rather than light, at very cold temperatures, is at the heart of modern physics and science, and goes way beyond the supposed intelligence quotient approached by optical character recognition, or whatever may be the software implementations that make predictive text writing as it stands work. My understanding is just very limited. To me, the height of my intelligence are the words it uses to express itself. But in quantum computing, we're finding out that the world of imagination is truly at the heart of math and physics, suggesting that our beliefs in and perception of an object gives it its quantitative existence. Our beliefs shape our realities. You can't observe a particle without altering its spin, its properties, and behavior. Talking about the mathematical constants which underlie our means of communication, our English language, for instance, really sets my mind to thinking. This subject is known of as information theory, and is my main fascination. But what is being seen in quantum computing, I think, is something like the discoveries were to us from man's first orbital spaceflight, and his actually walking on the moon. Are we not effectually conversing, and talking, interacting with God the Creator? All of time and space, we can mark and examine the behavior of exotic states of matter at near absolute zero. So, then, we've grown into having a kind of picture window into the innermost secrets of the space-over-time matrix. It's this ability to model, visually, these exotic states of matter that have got the scientists buzzing. Additionally, quantum computing will allow rapid solving of very complex time and distance computational problems, such as is involved in air traffic controlling, and is seen in finding effective solutions in shipping. For instance, where certain things are allowed, and others are not, and all the shipments have to arrive in the quickest time, in the most efficient way. Well, this is how such has been explained to me. At any rate, I'm considering myself genuinely blessed by the strong, authoritative thinking that has reached into my heart this morning, and I hope that this writing is what you wanted. Well, I've found how writing such as this points to the coming 5 years, if anything. I'll come into richer appreciation of the laws of not just motion and mass, but thermodynamics, in peeling back the layers of the veritable tree of life, in being so expressly impressed by the good God of our universe, at how he will share his secrets, if asked in just the right way. Well, the lute and guitar music playing on my bedside Victrola is an enchanting look. A journey into the continuum of our human journey, from crude, rough matter, to the enlightened harmony of our modern society. I think that it's true, how there's nothing new under the sun, and we've found already the temple of the immortals. What remains is for us to speak, and share, and live our lives through such blessings and bounty. Well, I can't see these ideas coming to their logical conclusion in 2 years, so I'll wrap them up now, and end with the others. All for now, Greg. Till then, finding some good concluding thoughts for this chapter, I'll get to write a bit, while I wait for our line to shorten. This morning, we've got a beautiful, sun-shining, breezy and cool morning. Now, we're expecting rain and drizzle for the next few days, or at least, that's what they've got in the forecast. But at least we've got some sun to start with. Today's something like the first working day of the new year, the start of the first working week of January. I'm thinking maybe that I want to get some house cleaning done, starting with emptying all of the trash, then getting to sweeping and mopping. But I can't get some writing in between the housework. These thoughts will be something like the conclusion of part of my latest audiobook. You may see some leaves in the trees, even in January, but they're the ivy and the mistletoe, which use the tree as their host, and use its water and minerals. I'm very glad, this morning, to be where I'm supposed to be, and that things appear to be business as usual. I can't tell you how good it is to be somewhat taken for granted. My new record, Silver World, and this audiobook chapter's latest seem as just aspects of my present, not as psychosocial issues. So, blessings are abundant. You may find a tangle of uncertainties, or you may find an enormous field of clover, hinging largely on just how you got your recent work squared away. If you're happy with your work, it will be much easier to rest in. Don't forget it, or take for granted the having of such problem-free work. At any rate, I've just thought of something else that I need doing, chore-wise, so I'll put this writing aside, and do that. It's good to be where I'm supposed to be, and to be accounted for. If someone were to ask me, how is your writing coming? I'd be able to claim some approval. What, in my opinion, is the source of the light and dark aspects of the world today? I think that so often, people get told that they think some way about themselves, or they adopt some wrong view of themselves, which is false and ruinous to them. I think that our biggest problem is when people get told wrong ways to think about themselves, and about the purpose and meaning in life, in general. Some of our young men will believe whatever they're told to believe, and you have to ask yourself, what is your critical thinking ability? Why is your self-analysis taking the vacation? I think we've got to emphasize priorities in our living. Certain types of experiences make in us the belief that there's nothing more precious and valuable than feeling good. That type of experience is this, being deprived of feeling good, naturally, and having to pursue such artificially. If you've lost sight of the bliss in your life, you'll see it like the very breath in your lungs. Aristotle, I think, called any problem that you can't ignore, which takes up your time and attention, the prime mover. He expressed that this is, believe it or not, the source of religion. Perhaps he meant that such is the source of religiosity instead. In our society, some young men we subject to something that might be called a schizoid ordeal, in which he or she had to subjugate his will and ego to the common good of the society. Isn't this what prison is for a young man? Maybe the schizoid ordeal is the alternative to prison for some men. Someone who I read diligently as a young adult, and whose words I took to heart, was Joseph Campbell. His main motto in his care as a writer was "Follow your bliss." He, I think, rightly believed that feeling good, naturally, is something of more value than silver or gold. So, you see, in our society, how backwards and off track some paths may get, or become. I myself feel that the other great rule I have found is know thyself, and to thine own self be true. This is why if we believe what we are told to believe about ourselves, what society tells us to, without closely determining our priorities, from our first-hand investigation, we get in trouble. But, look at this. My mind got so off-center and imbalanced just in writing these words, now, that it takes a yoga visualization of outstretched arms and of pressing of the trapped air molecules out from the corners of our nose and mouth with the sides of our forearms, like a cat, to dispel the migraine fixation. So I don't know. But you see, what is most important, after all, in keeping my personal balance? Not high salary job, strictly. Although tools and instruments and appliances are necessary. Very necessary. In crossing distances of life, easily. To get to such a place of knowledge and experience. Even in writing this essay, I rely on my smart device, and my Writer Plus software app is the only software tool out there, I found, which will both save every change you make, and allow you to stroke by stroke go back into a composition's past. Such allow for easy filing and storage to type notes to your phone's memory, as well. Sometimes I feel like I have all the answers, and other times I feel like a stinking skunk that no one would want around. Knowing and understanding this fills you in on how good of a morning this present one island we've got everything, practically, working optimally. Our group has met my own goals, and exceeded them, and I hope our individuals have met theirs too. Well, I'll wrap this writing up, and add it in with the others. Now, all for now, Greg.